How y'all doing today? My name is Damian Pacheco from the Reaching Branch, and you're watching Rant, my weekly segment on a particular subject matter that's on my heart right now that might have some benefit and value to you. Now, for those of you that have been paying attention, you might have noticed that I missed last week. Little bit of my personal life. I had a family member of mine pass away. You might have seen some of the photographs and some of the things that I put on the website. And this particular lady was like a mother to me. She was my aunt and my godmother, and put me in a little bit of a state. And it's hard to give out when you're hurting. And I'm sure, some of you might be going through something similar. You might have felt something like that where you kind of just get into a funk. You ever been there? And so this week I'm going to give you 2 root rants. There's going to be another one that comes up after this, but I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. I was playing a show. I'm a professional trumpet player outside of everything else. Besides working for a major coffee company, I also play some horn. And I was playing with a group called the Chupacabra Cabaret. Now, we are nuts. With a name like that, you gotta know we're crazy. And I was talking with one of the people, an old friend of mine that had come by. And she said, "You guys are amazing. And you know what, Damon, I was checking out your website and everything, and I love it, but it's so happy. How can you be that happy all the time?" It's just like, I kind of want to go up to you and smack you and be like, life isn't always that happy. There's the grief, there's the struggle, there's the problems. And I tell you, the person that came up to me and said that, I love her to death. She's a phenomenal human being. And she's so real. And what was great about that is that I wanted to bring this out to you, and I wanted to talk to you today about grief. I wanted to talk to you about the fact that life is not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. It's not going to be awesome all the time. You're going to have deaths in the family. People are going to lose their jobs. You might be in debt. You might have a bad day. You stub your toe. You're just like, and you got to deal with it. And you might get into a funk. And I'm not talking about like the funk where you're just like, no, not that sort of funk. I'm talking about like the, Damien, how you doing? I'm doing all right. No, that is not how I approach life. Everybody that knows me for any length of time in real life, they come up to me and they're like, "Damien, how you doing?" "I'm doing fantastic and getting better all the time." People ask me all the time, "Do you really feel that?" Yeah. Except now. Because life has gotten in the way of some of my best laid plans. And there are going to be trials, there's going to be tribulations, there's going to be days when it rains. And I was talking to my friend today, and she's having some issues with family, and she was expressing how she needs to express herself for an issue that they're having, and she says to me, "It's going to be difficult to discuss this with my family and kind of state my viewpoint." And for whatever reason, I thought about my faith, and if I know a lot of you might not be Christian, but the story of Noah with the rain is a very common story. We all know it, where God puts 40 days and 40 nights of rain and goes shh. All the animals die, all the plants, and it's because of man's sin, etc., etc., etc. I'm oversimplifying it, but you get the idea. But after he put all that rain on, after he put all that suffering, all that death, all that destruction, all of those things, all that despair, he found some people on the earth that were pretty good. He found some animals. He realized that, you know what? It's not that bad. Yeah, there's some issues. And at the end of that 40 days, there was a rainbow. And that was God's covenant to us, saying that he would never put those 40 days of rain upon us. And I like to think of that as a way that we look at our lives a little bit. That you're going to have your storms. You're going to have your long droughts, that valley of the shadow of death, so to speak, that part where you're trudging through it and you're trying to get through and trying to get by, and it's just like, But allow me to get a little bit personal. The statement doesn't say you go to the valley of the shadow of death and you just stand there and lie in the mud. No. You walk through the valley. And that is what it's all about. I wanted to be real with you today because my friend reminded me that sometimes people need to know that it's not always one side. Yes, I talk about being positive. Yes, I talk about smiling and believing in other people and believing in yourself. But I also want you to know that it's okay when you're hurting. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to not necessarily be 100% woohoo, everything's awesome. But what you have to remember is that each day, if you put one foot forward, then the next foot, then the next foot, you start getting out of that valley. You start climbing up the mountain. You start becoming more of who you really are. And you bring something with you. Last week I talked about trinkets. How our mind doesn't forget that we put, the big things in the front and then they get smaller and smaller and smaller. Every time you go through something, though, that hurts you, that really hits you at your core, you get a little trinket, so to speak. You get a memory. You get something that makes you a better human being. Something that builds you up from the inside out, that lets you become more real. Lets you become more human. Because you've lived something else, you can empathize with another person. You can feel that much more. And so this week's Root Rant is about that. It's about being you, it's about being real, it's about understanding that even though life is not always going to be perfect, and sometimes you're going to be dealing with struggles and you're going to be dealing with challenges, as long as you wake up every day and you are blessed with breath, with your eyesight or hearing or whatever it is, anything that allows you to feel and sense that makes you come alive. Yeah, some of us aren't blessed with sight. Some of us aren't blessed with hearing. But if you're alive, and you have a dream, and you have a good family, or even if you don't have a good family, maybe you got a couple of good friends, or maybe you just have a vision for your future that is far beyond anything that you might be able to see right now, but it's in your head, then it's real and you can chase it. And no matter what obstacles life throws into you, no matter what gets chucked at you, no matter how many things smack you upside the head, knock you out a little bit on the side, right in the breadbasket, whatever it is, if you put that first step forward, you keep moving, you keep trucking along, then you're going to get to where you need to be. And you're going to start seeing the people that are going to get you to where you need to be. You're going to start getting the information. You're going to start getting all of that stuff that's going to take you out of that zone and move you into a completely different viewpoint of life. So I challenge you, no matter how hard it gets, to keep walking, to keep talking, to make sure that you're speaking right, to make sure that every day when somebody asks you how you're doing, that you say, you know what, I'm doing all right, but I'm getting better. Every day is becoming a better day. Every day I'm getting stronger. Start speaking it. Start living it. My name is Damian Pacheco from the Reaching Branch. May you reach from your roots towards the life you're choosing, bearing good fruit all along the way. God bless.